Alright, what's going on, guys? I'm making this video today. This is going to be the first of a new series of my review at the end of a trading day. So, in case you don't know, my name is Sawyer Verosky, and I am basically on a trading journey, okay? I've been trading stocks and futures for the past 2.5 years. Primarily the past year and a half has been futures, and the year before that I traded stocks in the can slim style, like William O'Neill, how to make money in stocks. That's how I got started actively trading, and I'll just tell you a little bit about my journey so far and maybe do a little bit of market review, a little bit of performance and how it went for me today. Because I just want to show a different side of some of what's out there in the trading community space, social media people. There's a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's probably not very helpful, and there's just a lot of noise and basically a lot of people who, they portray their massive success, like a lot of headlines or video titles named like, I just made $1 million today trading Forex or whatever. And I just want to show the reality of somebody on a trading journey that is not like basically becoming a millionaire in 6 months, because that's unlikely. I wish that was the case for me, obviously, because I've been doing this. Like I said, I'm going on about 2.5 years now of trying to operate in the markets every day that I can, like Monday through Friday, trading the futures. And, I'm going to be honest with you. I have not made any money trading futures at this point. I've been doing it for about 1.5 years now. And I really am only down a very small amount. It's mostly buying evals, because I've been working to try to get funded with the prop firms, mainly Apex and Top Step, and so I've spent probably about $800 on evals and resets. I don't do resets anymore. I only did like a few of those when I first started. Because like so many other people, when I first started, I just had no idea what I was doing. None at all. And I had no concept for the amount of leverage that is used and how quickly you can lose money. And I just didn't have any respect for it. I was just trying to, hit it out of the park with every trade, and way over leveraging the size of accounts, because I've mostly gotten 50K accounts, which have like a $2,500 drawdown limit. That just means if you lose that amount of money from the starting equity, 50,000. So if you get to 47.5, then you failed, right? Apex has a little bit of a different trailing drawdown method, which can be challenging. I use limit orders to exit, so that means I'm exiting at the height of my unrealized P&L usually, so that helps keep that trailing drawdown from really becoming a problem. That's just something I've learned for the Apex accounts, and kind of is my execution style at this point. And then I funded my own futures account there for a little bit. I put $2,000 in my own account, and I ended up losing, I was down like $300, and I just had to close that account and use that cash to pay other bills at the time, because part of my story has been over the past year, work has been inconsistent, like my income has been inconsistent due to different factors and due to a little bit of just kind of foolishness on my part, to be honest with you. I, like a lot of people who get into this, thought that I could figure it out, right? I was like so excited, love trading, it can be so exciting, which can be a problem because now you're just getting emotional while you're performing. And a lot of people say that you kind of want to get to boredom basically with trading, which doesn't sound exciting or very fun or worthwhile. But if you're too excited, that's probably going to be a problem, because now your emotions are all over the ice, and you're way feeling so good when you had a great day or had a big win, and then you're feeling so down when you had a loss, and all those things are just gonna make you inconsistent with this. And so I tried to make a run for it over the past year. I wasn't really having a consistent source of income. I had basically a year's worth of capital built up over the years through. I would buy and hold mutual funds since I was like 18, so that built up a little cushion for me. And I ended up spending it all. And basically hitting rock bottom, like the January, February time frame, of this year. And you can imagine the whole time along that way, when my capital is dwindling because I have expenses to pay, I'm stressed. I'm trying to make something happen with the trading. I'm trying to make money. I'm trying to get funded because it seems so close, but it's so far away at the same time, And that's kind of a mistake a lot of traders who want to get into this make, is thinking that you're new, you're excited, you see the potential, the opportunities, maybe you have some good trades, you see how much money you can make very quickly, and so you think that you can figure it out and make this your main source of income, like basically within 6 months or less or something, or a year even. And the reality is, for most people, that's just not likely at all. And it's not because you're a failure or you're bad at this or you're maybe not cut out for it. Maybe some of those things are true. Maybe you aren't cut out for this, but we need to have some realistic expectations. One of my main mentors when it comes to this is Linda Rashke, and I was actually lucky enough to be in her trading room last year. She has a trading room with Damon Pavlatos, her husband, and her assistant Kyle. And I paid to be in that trading room, which there's reasons why there's cost associated with those trading rooms. It can be a lot of work, and it's my training, and my mentorship. Sometimes I think it's fine you have to spend a little bit of money to get the training and the exposure, to these people who are going to help develop you along this, because this is a career path. This is a high-level profession that does not get the respect that it deserves. Most people think that it's just gambling. They think it's a waste of time. You need a bunch of money to make money at it. Like, they have all types of ideas, and this is something that I would share with newer traders and a lot of people who've been in the markets for a while. You just can't talk with people who don't do this very much about it. They don't get it. They don't understand. They have no idea what it is. They're not going to offer you any valuable insights or advice, and they're just going to be discouraging. Overall, they're going to be discouraging. So you show people what you do, and it's very common to be like, oh, gambling, or like, that's just, it's how's that making the world better? Or like, they just see it as like an evil industry or something. I personally think it's the greatest business opportunity in the world, but that's just me. Because it's pure business. It's pure, you're trading. You're buying and selling, and you get to do it on your own, on your own pace, at your own timing. You get to figure out your own system and process, and you're your own boss, and you can do it from anywhere in the world if you have a computer and all that, which is what. And then once you get good at it, it's like scalable. It's the most scalable business in the world. You just increase your unit size along the way. And so a good day today where you're at with your account might be $50. You start doing that consistently, you start making, a couple hundred a month consistently, controlling the losses. You size up, and now a good month is going to be 500 or 1,000 or 2,000 or 10,000. But it just takes time. If you guys want to get into trading, have a realistic timeline and have money set aside for your bills, or have another source of income to make sure that you're okay, so you don't have to put this pressure on yourself to make money doing this right away, because I can almost guarantee you'll lose everything. Like so many other people who've tried to do that, you can kind of be foolish and make your own mistakes like I did. But basically it's just not going to help your performance to have that level of pressure to put on yourself, to learn, to review, to execute, to do something that is so unusual, that is so different from any other way of earning money, like earning a living, that it's just like, say you've been an employee your whole life, and now you want to get into trading and make this your full-time income because you're excited about it. It seems fun, it seems exciting, maybe it seems, glamorous, like high status and so forth, and it can be all those things. But the reality is it can be a grind too. It's just a grind. And if you don't like the process, if you don't actually like looking at charts, see, look, here's my setup that I got, and I just recently got these two monitors. So I was trading off of this basically this whole entire time. I just got these two monitors like 2 weeks ago, which already is helping me out a lot, to see the different time frames simultaneously and the different indicators that I use, instead of having to click back and forth like I was doing on my laptop. And then, there's a few seconds delays for that page to pop up, and then you're looking at that while you need to be looking at the other thing at the same time. And trading is all about timing, and that type of thing is going to slow you down. So that's why traders usually have a ton of monitors, because they're, depending on their process, they're watching different time frames or different markets or news feeds, or there's a lot of information you're processing all the time to make quick decisions, especially with the day trading. I trade index futures. Basically, I've been trading the S&P, and right now I'm primarily doing NASDAQ micros. Man, there's just so much to say. I mean, when I first started on this journey trading futures, I had no clue what I was doing. I had done a lot of study trading stocks with like How to Make Money in Stocks, William O'Neill, the Can Slim style, and I had some success with that. I was actually profitable doing that. It's a very different pace. It's much lower leverage. Like you would put on a trade one day and walk away. Like you would monitor how it did it maybe at the end of the day, or next morning you'd look at the charts, you'd see where you're at and things of that nature. And you'd give it room to roam. With the futures, you're looking at this and you're watching every tick. You're watching your P&L fluctuate, and you could get over eager and basically kill a good trade because you're getting emotional. You're afraid that it's going to come back on you. You don't want, you don't want to lose money again. Like, all these things come into play. Again, these are the things that just take time to understand how to play this game and how to be consistent and make a consistent income doing it. What other thing in life can you do, like, where you could do everything right? You did your process right, you got here on time, you were clear, you were in a neutral emotional state, whatever. But at the end of the day, you lost money today. That really is not something that almost, like, most people are ever going to deal with, because they're just used to trading time for money, basically. They go do their job, they do their work, they can expect a certain amount of money. Well, when it comes to this, you can't expect a certain amount of money every day. I want to make $100 a day. Okay. Well, maybe the market conditions aren't right for you today. Maybe you're off. Maybe you, took stupid trades and started gambling and all this type of stuff. There's not going to be an amount that you can expect to earn every day like clockwork. It's some days you might have big days, some days you might have scratch days, some days you'll have losing days. And one of my big problems that I've faced, I'll have success doing this and go on like a nice run and make, hit my profit goals or whatever for the week or the month. But those tilt days, they call it going on tilt, where you start making stupid decisions, you have a bigger loss than you expected to take, next thing you know, you're trying to get it back, next thing you know, you're expanding your max daily loss limit, next thing you know, you're hitting that new daily loss limit, which is what happened to me today. I went on a little bit of a tilt today because I'm on the Top Step account and they are not offering Trade Evade anymore, apparently, so I kind of don't, they say that I could stay in it if I pass and keep trading it, but I'm just kind of like, I'm just swinging for the fences this week on that one, to be honest with you, because it'll rebuild next Monday, and I'm just going to cancel that and just work on my Apex accounts because they're a little cheaper. And I'm trying out a 25K account because I've built up $1,500 in the Apex account on a 50K account. But I've never passed an eval up to this point. So I just want people to know kind of the realist. Most people who do this, I don't know the exact stat, but it's like only like 6% or 8% of people ever even get to the funded stage. I don't hold me to that, but I think it is something that low. Of all people who buy an eval with one of these main top prop firms, only like 6 or 8% of them, or 10% or something like that, even pass to get a funded account. And then of those people who even get a funded account, it's only like 1 or 2% who ever even get a payout, one payout, let alone multiple payouts consistently. So, if you're struggling to find consistency and profitability and pass, and you've been doing this for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and you still haven't gotten a payout, it's tough. That is tough. I see some of the comments on these Apex sites or whatever, and some of these people are like, I've had hundreds of evals, and like dozens of funded accounts, and I just recently got my first payout after 3 years or something. This is a tough journey. You're learning a skill. It's called a financial instrument for a reason, because you're learning to skillfully play an instrument, essentially, to do something that works because it's actually producing like positive results, and a lot of what's going to make you successful is the things that you don't do, just like playing an instrument. There's a lot of rules and theory and things that you need to learn, But a big part of being a good musician is like what you don't do, the things that you don't do. You know what I mean? You're not like playing wrong notes that aren't in sync with the band that you're playing with, or you're not soloing over the vocalist, or there's turning your volume up way too loud and drowning everybody else out. Like, all these factors are just as important, maybe even more important than what you actually do. Sometimes what you do can be very simple. It's like a B.B. King or something. He didn't really even play chords, but he was regarded as one of the greatest guitar players because of his influence and style was so unique. But it was pretty simple in a certain way. It's not necessarily easy, but it was simple, but it was unique to him. And that's what you're going to need to find doing this, is a process, a system that is unique to you and your personality. This is what all the trading books and all the videos will say, and trust me, I watch them all, I read them all. I've been studying all this stuff for years and trying to get better every day. But even with that, I do have a day like this where I go on tilt, I start doing bad habits, things I know I shouldn't be doing, and guess what? Well, you lost money. And now I'm just kind of, I feel like I'm digging myself out of the hole with the Apex account again, because it's like down $600, and I guess just I'm just trying to work on better habits, consistent process, a repeatable process where I can demonstrate an edge and I can execute it with precision and consistency, and not like go on tilt and not have those big losing days anymore, because that's been one of my biggest problems. I will go on a good run and then I'll just have a much bigger losing day than I would ever really have like a good winning day. And then I'm get a little bit discouraged because I feel like I lost ground. I took 2 steps forward, but I just took like 3 back. You know what I mean? And then I take 1 forward and I kind of take 2 back, and then I take 2 forward and 1 back. And sometimes it feels like you're not making the progress that you think you should be making. But, big changes can happen small amounts at a time. And sometimes you get that like compounding effect where it looks very small for a long time, and then over time that compounding just will skyrocket your performance because you built on a solid foundation. And that's what you need to focus on when you're getting into this, is avoiding the stupid behaviors, the bad habits, cleaning up your act, making sure you're acting like a grown-up. Basically, if you act like a child in these markets and think that you're gonna cry and throw a temper tantrum because it's punching you in the face day after day, which it's going to do, you're gonna lose big. You have to clean that up, and you have to like ride the waves and take the punch in the face and just keep going. Basically, if you're not good at taking rejection, you're gonna have a really hard time with this, because losses, they feel like a rejection. They feel like a threat to your survival. And now you're in like fight or flight mode and trying to make something happen. And you're just operating in a crazy environment that if you're new, you know nothing about. And you need to just take it slow, size down, because the only way you're going to be able to make the big money is if you're making a little bit of money. Right? I know it doesn't sound sexy or exciting. Trust me, this has been my biggest problem. I want to make the money, right? But you can't force results. Like any other major profession, and again, I'm just saying a lot of things that are out there that everybody says. You want to become a doctor? Well, they have to go to school for like 10 years before they can start practicing. And even then, they have a lot to learn after that point. to get to kind of the height of their career. This type of profession, if that's what you want to make of it, is a profession because you are into it and you actually like the process, then it's just going to take time. Linda Rashke says you can expect at a minimum 3 years before you can like start making this your consistent living. Now that's just what she says, but that's what she says based on people that she knows. And she's worked with some of the best, biggest traders in the industry. And she just says she knows nobody who's like making a consistent living at this that has been doing it for 2 years or less. At a minimum, expect like 3 years. And, you know, when I started and I got into this, I was like, I'm going to go for this hardcore for the next 2 years and we'll see where I end up. I want this to be part of my life forever. I actually do love doing this. It's so fascinating and interesting and dynamic, and there's so many factors that I just love. You know, it's business, it's it's like world economies, it's weather, it's news, it's, you know, business trends and politics and social events and whatever way you want to go about it. It's all, and then you have the technical, the charting aspect of it with the symbols and the indicators and the patterns and the waves and all of it. It's just so fascinating to me. But even then, I just sometimes have tough days. Like today was kind of a tough day because I'm trying to make something happen, and I just realized like you just can't force anything in these markets. If you're getting frustrated and upset that you're not getting the results you want, or the market's not acting how you want it to act right now, for me, I don't like trend days. I've realized that. That's a lesson that I've had to learn, because my style is a divergence type of style, which is like a reversal patterns or counter trend trades often. And sometimes I can pick incredible turns in the market, and I look back on some of the trades and my entries really are stellar. Like I'm looking at one here, like I'll just show you. Come on. It's kind of hard to see right now because the price is just so crazy, but like, see, look at this. This was at the end of the day today, and you know, we had a volume divergence around that time on these stochastics and a 9-3 divergence. That was my entry, because I was expecting, I mean, I took a couple losses here along the way. That was, you know, I guess I was too early there, but my entry was here because I was expecting a pop, you know, back up to the highs in the close. This was at 1:45, so the last 15 minutes of the U.S. session. Entered here, we had a little success there, and we saw it pull back, and so I decided to re-enter. Got a little bit piece there, but see how I just, you know, I'm learning how to ride these a little bit better, because this was the previous high that was made. It ended up shooting up way farther than that, right? But my entry was stellar. It was right down here at the bottom. So, you know, it's just, I just want to talk about things, and we'll probably cut this video off because it's gotten a little long, but, you know, I just want to do some market reviews at the end of the day and talk about the trading journey, and just kind of show maybe a different side of somebody who's just still working through it, you know what I mean? To get to where I want to get to, and I'm not like a influencer on there who's just unrealistic and unrelatable to you probably at this point, where they're making millions of dollars a year and they started, you know, only 6 months ago. Like, I don't know how many of those people are being honest or not, or how much money they started with, but I'm somebody who started with my own money. I've funded this whole learning journey, and I should have been earning money along the way. That was a mistake that I made, so don't make that mistake. It's just not going to help your performance, because you're going to do what I did and what so many other people did. You're going to act out of desperation, impatience, trying to swing for the fences because, you know, it's not happening fast enough, and all these things, and you're getting fearful because you have bills to pay and you're not earning money and blah, blah, blah. Like, how's that going to help you? the only way you're going to get good at this is when you have a totally different idea about money and what it means to you, and it's not about pure survival. If you're in pure survival mode, you need to get your bases covered, which I was told, my daddy's like, you gotta have another way to earn money, which is something that people who don't know anything about trading will tell you, but he was right. He was right at the time that you have to have money coming in to pay your bills. Because if you are expecting this to happen in a specific time frame, it almost certainly is not going to happen. Now, I don't say that to be discouraging. It's just, we want to have a realistic timeline. With you're operating and trading against people who've been doing this for decades, against machines that have been studied and calibrated so precisely to consistently make money in these markets, and it's just unrealistic for you to think you literally just started trading, or you're like 1-2 years in, and to think that you're going to be making millions of dollars, operating in these uncertain environments. That's the whole thing, is it's uncertain. You don't really know exactly what you're going to make or lose today, but you can, over time, develop a consistent strategy where you are having better control over the losses. You know exactly what you're risking on this trade or expecting to earn on this trade. And there's just a lot of kinks you're going to have to work out along the way, and it comes down to really you and your person, like things going on in your mind, in your life, your emotions. And then of course there's the strategy aspect of it too that need to be worked out, like your process. What time frames are you going to use? What indicators are you going to use? Are you going to use moving averages or Keltner channels or volume profile or market profile, or what's your style? Are you a scout, like going to try to scalp the markets where you're in and out within minutes basically? Or are you going to try to hold for bigger moves? Or are you a trend trader? Are you a mean reversion trader? Like, there's a lot of things you're going to have to try out and find what suits you, and that's what's going to take some time, because you got to study, you got to give a strategy enough time to see if it's working or not. Is it something wrong with the strategy, or is it something wrong with your execution, or your psychology? So those are just some thoughts today. I'll continue making these videos, and we'll just review the markets a little bit. It's really to help myself to try to understand what's going on with me better, to analyze and see what we can learn from the markets each day, to build a community of people, and then just to show like a different kind of aspect to the trading journey of the things that we all go through. But a lot of people don't really want to talk about the fact that they have not even made any money doing this, and they've been doing it for probably years. But you know what? Some of the best traders in the world ever, Nicholas Darvis, Mark Minervini, William O'Neill, it took them years sometimes to find, like Mark Minervini, I think he was unprofitable for like 6 years, and now he's a multi-millionaire. He's very successful. But same thing, he would have success, good runs, and then he would just have some big losses, and overall he was a losing trader. Until you figure out what those little idiosyncrasies within your personality and your style of execution and approach, until you figure out the problems there that only you can do through your own review, analysis, good habits, like consistent approach. So it's a worthwhile journey to go down. It's taught me so much, and I can't wait to see where it goes in the future, and I wish anybody the best of luck doing this. I'm just trying to inject a little bit of realism and reality that don't expect to be a millionaire after 6 months doing this. I hope you do if you can. I want to meet you and I want to learn from you for sure. But a lot of us, we struggle, like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, that type of motion for quite some time before we figure out how to put the pieces together in a way that works for us. So thank you. It's good talking with you. Talk with you soon.